Hey guys, I've dissected a video that I had. It was pretty lengthy, and I don't want to put people's entire videos out here. Go to their channels and watch their own videos and so forth. I'm mostly putting Jack's comments, Jack's response to questions, and his comments that I can respond to. So let's go ahead here. Jack says he wants to cover the true history. Guys, I don't want to. This is not pick on Jack Day. This is not pick on Reo, pick on William Keith, pick on Ron McCoy. It's not. But I heard Jack the other day say they're going to have a reunion, and he wants Ron McCoy there. And I do too, because I've tried to get an appointment. I've offered to pay to interview Ron McCoy. I've got some questions for Ron McCoy. He's filed a lawsuit against an innocent family. He's done all kinds of things in order to become famous and write a book. But when you ask questions about his relationship and blood relation to Charles Manson or anything that's derogatory, he wants to shy away. And I hope they do have a reunion or some sort of get together so we can bring the national press in and maybe ask some hard questions, not just show up for a show and tell. Ask some hard questions. I want to show you while I'm on here. In that last video I mentioned that I should have had the peace treaty, and there it is. We the descendants of William Anderson Hatfield and Randolph McCoy. Y'all can read it there for the entire thing. This was a thing. This was a publicity stunt Reo Hatfield and Ron McCoy came up with. After the 9/11, after they knocked down the World Trade Centers, they thought it was so important that they was going to say, well, Hatfields and McCoys are getting along. Guys, Hatfields and McCoys got along before the feud, after the feud, and during the feud. This was Devil Anse Hatfield's family and Randall McCoy's family. Now, Bo and Ron McCoy say that they're related to Randall McCoy. Reo Hatfield is actually the grandson of Allen Hatfield, John Wallace Hatfield, and so forth. But Reo Hatfield says, we the descendants of William Anderson Hatfield and Randolph McCoy. Now, I wouldn't think a whole lot about that until I seen the rifle. They also do a Henry rifle where Reo Hatfield has said that he's a descendant of Devil Anse Hatfield, and he actually signs this $3,000 rifle from what I've been told. And this was 2003. Guys, there was peace treaties, there was friends made after Devil Anse Hatfield died, and Randall McCoy and the children went on through life. But you look at this is the last statement underneath this. It said a unity statement between the Hatfield and McCoy families, signed by Reo Hatfield, Bo McCoy, and Ron McCoy, dated June 14, 2003. A unity statement between the Hatfield and McCoy. What Hatfield and McCoy families? Reo Hatfield's family, Bo McCoy's family, and Ron McCoy's family, maybe. They didn't sign no, I'm Hatfield and McCoy. They didn't. Reo Hatfield's from Waynesboro, Virginia, and Bo's from Waycross, Georgia. I think he lives in Chillicothe, Ohio now. Ron McCoy's from North Carolina. And we're talking as if we're talking for all the Hatfields and all the McCoys. Nobody was involved in this feud except Devil Anse Hatfield and Randall McCoy's family. Guys, Reo Hatfield's family wasn't even involved. Reo Hatfield's family was Kentucky Hatfields. They lived on River Road. They lived on River Road at Buskirk on the Kentucky side. Reo Hatfield's great-grandfather was the one that helped load the 3 McCoy boys up and take them back to Randall. He was on the peaceful side. They didn't even get involved in the feud like most Hatfields on the Kentucky side. Reo Hatfield's family didn't even get involved in the feud, his ancestors. On either side, Hatfields or McCoys, as most people didn't. But then you read stuff like this and you see stuff and you think, wow. Well, when you see stuff like this and you read stuff like this, think to yourself, nothing but a publicity stunt. Nothing but a publicity stunt, all this was. They had their 15 minutes of fame. They wrote books. They sold guns. They've made business deals. They've told people that they could solve world peace. Guys, the Hatfield-McCoy feud was not like these people want you to think that it was. The Hatfield-McCoy feud was between two families. That happened to be, one family was Hatfields and one was named McCoy. But that didn't involve every Hatfield and every McCoy in the land. It just didn't. Sorry. Sorry to bust their bubble. And sorry that I have to call them out 24 years later, 27, whatever it is, since they started this nonsense. I'm sorry it took so long. But people just didn't want to be known as heck raisers. If you bring something up, they say, well, he's just a heck raiser. He's just a heck raiser. He's just jealous. He's just jealous of what? Because I don't fib? Because I don't say that I'm related. I'm actually related to Devil Ants, but I ain't nothing to brag about. I'm definitely not a descendant. But why would you want to brag about being related to a murderer? Ron McCoy's related to Charles Manson. He doesn't want to brag about that. But yet Reo Hatfield wants to brag about being related, or being a descendant rather, of Devil Ants. He's no more a descendant of Devil Ants Hatfield than Fred McCoy or Ron McCoy or Bo McCoy. He's not. It's fabricated. It's a fake story. And yeah, I'm calling it out. Every time that I see it, I do another video, because it's every time they keep putting it out there, then I have to keep putting it out there to try to rein it in and say, hey guys, you've got to stop. You've done this for 27 years. You've got to stop now. The jig's over. It's over. I don't have nothing personal against these guys. These guys are public figures. They have made themselves public figures. They've wrote books. They're authors. They have personal appearances. They charge to see people, and they sign guns. They sign peace treaties. So they're public figures. But yet when I say something truthful, it may be derogatory, but it's truthful, they get mad. They get upset. I'm not the one that's speaking the untruths. If I'm speaking the untruths, why haven't I been sued? If it's not truthful, sue me. And let's go to court. Be prepared to be sued back. I guarantee you, anybody that sues me's got more than I've got, so anything from me would be an improvement probably. But be prepared for a countersuit, but also be prepared to prove me wrong in court. There won't be no settlements. We're going to go to trial, and we'll put this thing in court where it can make history once and for all, and we can set history straight. They can show their court records of a land dispute between Perry Klein and Randall McCoy and Devil Ants. They can show their Sam McCoy court case where he was acquitted. They can show the 1873 pig trial and the 1878 pig trial. They can show this demented disease that Randall McCoy had with their distorted pictures. Maybe it's time that it went that far, and maybe we can finally set the record straight through court documents, not through books, and not through videos, but through court documents, through under penalty of perjury, swearing under oath to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, and showing proof, showing the evidence. These guys have made up stories after stories after stories. It's time that somebody's held accountable, and we're either proved to be a liar, or they are. Somebody's not telling the truth here. If Reo Hatfield is a descendant of Devil Ants Hatfield, then I'm wrong. If Wim Keith Hatfield is a descendant of Devil Ants Hatfield, then I'm wrong. If Reo Hatfield served in Vietnam, then I'm wrong. Because his DD-214 I got from Freedom of Information Act tells me that he was never stepped foot in Vietnam. If all these stories that Jack's told, Wilm Keith's told, Bo's told, Ron's told, Reo's told, then it's time to prove. It's time to prove Fred McCoy wrong. And that's easy to do. We just have to get it into court. Somebody has to take the step, make the move, get it in court, and then we'll get under oath and we can prove our cases.